Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca from Holy Rustic, and I'm going to do a quick tutorial on our Beehive door hanger today. Yours is really big if you bought the kit. This is just a mini version to make the tutorial go a little faster today. So before you watch the video, the best thing to do is to go ahead and base coat all of your pieces in white. When we're working with yellow, it's kind of hard to cover up the wood because the yellow tends to be a little bit translucent. So put a base coat of white, let it dry, and then we'll start working with the yellow. So a lot of what we'll do today is going to be with wet paint. So after we put our first coat of yellow on, while it's still wet, we're going to brush in some gold just to give it a little bit of contrast, and then we'll work with our browns and our whites and our blacks. Go ahead and get some brown, I forgot. Okay, so once your white is dry, my beehive's still a little wet, you can go ahead and let's start with our flowers. This is the easiest, probably the easiest pieces with this beehive. So I'm just going to take a small angled brush and put the little circle inside. And if at any point today you want to draw with a pencil, that's kind of helpful. You could trace a nickel or something for the center of your flower to get the size center that you want. I'm going to go ahead and dip in my yellow and I'm just going to eyeball it here with this angled brush and put that center in. Kind of spin the flower as I paint the yellow. You'll hear my cat. He's noisy today for some reason. Okay, and obviously you can do the flowers any color you want. I did them in white just because I thought it went well with the beehive. I'm going to pull up the picture of this door hanger real quick so I can remember everything I did. Alright, so I am going to take a pencil and I'm going to kind of draw these little wings on because that'll make it easier for me. So I'm just going to take it and make that line there in the middle, and then another line and curve down so I know where to make my wings. So I just drew them on. Since it's already painted white, the wings are already white, so we're just gonna go ahead and add the yellow onto it and the black for the little antennas and the stinger. I'm just using the same color yellow throughout this project. If you want a lighter or darker yellow, you can always mix your kit yellows with the white or the black to get the shade that you want. I'm just still using my angled brush here. Same one that I used for the flowers. Go right over that pencil mark. Just painted the wings yellow. Oh goodness. Okay, so I'm just going to paint this whole bee yellow, and then I'm going to go back over it with the white. It's been one of those days. Let's see. let that dry and then go back over it with the white. I'm gonna go ahead and do my little black antennas and stinger real quick. All our pieces are laser cut, so they have that burnt edge. You can always paint the edges if you want, or you can just leave them dark. It's completely up to you. While that's drying, I think I'm going to come back and do the beehive. So I'm going to use a big brush for this and just go over the white with the yellow. Yellow will cover a lot better with that white base. I'm not too worried about the lines in the center because I'm going to be painting that black. I'll just cover it up. I'll be a lot more careful when I do the center with black around the lines, but right now I don't really care. So it's going to be covered with a dark color. Alright, so while that yellow is still wet, I'm going to go ahead and dip in my gold. And I'm just going to do some light brush strokes through here. And I'm going to blend these in. And I'm just using the same brush turned a different direction. I'm going to kind of blend that into the yellow underneath just to give it a little bit of contrast here. I'm barely pushing down with my brush. This bottom dried a little fast, let's see. If you get streaks or if it looks a little too dark, you can always go back over it and blend in some of the yellow again. So I just kind of dipped my brush in the same two colors, the yellow and the gold, and just kind of brushing that on again, smoothing out some of that color. So we're not painting the whole thing gold, we just want a little bit of contrast. See, I have some different shades on there. Okay, now for the what you can do is draw your lines on here, because I'm going to go over our lines with brown and then black and white. So you can draw them if you think that that would be helpful. I'm just going to use a smaller brush. I think I'm going to use a bigger angled brush than I've been using. I'm just going to dip in that brown. I guess I'm going to eyeball it here. But I'm just going to take that brown and kind of brush. I want them to be pretty light. So I don't want them to look like stripes. So I'm kind of blending that back in a little bit. Because my paint's still wet, so. Blends a lot easier. I got that a little thick. I'm going to go back over it with yellow there. All right, while that's drying, I'm going to go back and do my white wings. Oops, throwing paintbrushes. Probably need another coat, we'll see. Okay, we can work on the black while that's drying. I'm gonna paint my center black. You can trace that on or just use the lines. I already have a black and angled brush here. I like the angled brushes for these fine edges. And if you notice in the example, I went over the edges with some little round circles. You don't have to do that, but that'll help hide any flaws if you have any. I'm left-handed and tend to always drag my hand through my paint. I'm a messy painter anyway, so being left-handed just helps with that. Alright, I'm going to get a really small brush to do some little black accents on the flowers. So I'm using a tiny pointed brush here, and I'm just going to go over this yellow and do a quick curve inside. And I'm going to go ahead and draw my little lines on the beehive. So I put one little triangle of black right under the wings there. Then I'm going to do a thicker line. And you can draw these on if you want with your pencil. And then the bottom one's going to be the biggest. So just like that. The little bees are done except for the swirls in the wings, but that's still a little wet, so I think I'm gonna let that dry some. I'm gonna come back over here to the beehive and do some accents. If you want your brown lines to be darker, you can go back over them. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and start on my accents. I'm gonna use a round brush. And I'm going to do the black here. And I always like to practice. I put down a transfer tape here on my table so that I can just wipe the paint off. I always like to practice with my brush. So we're going to be doing curves in each of the little beehive sections. Turn it this way and start at the top, that, and I'm just going to go down one side and just curve like that. You don't have to push down real hard, just a light touch. And then I'm going to kind of put a little black on each of these brown lines here. I don't want it to look like dashes. I just want it to be kind of random. So I'm just going to draw some random black lines here. Don't think too hard about it. Just light brushes. And then once that dries, we're going to go back and do the same thing with the white. So I'm just going to rinse out the same brush and use it for the white. Stray brown here, cover it up. All right, so basically everywhere I've put the black, I'm going to go now and do the same thing with the white. So on the inside of that black, I'm going to go with the same brush and do the white on the inside. You want it to be touching pretty much right up against the black. I like to rotate my beehive. That one. And I'm going to go underneath the marks that I made on the brown lines and do the same thing. They don't have to be the exact same size and length. While I have the white on my brush, I'm going to go ahead and fill in these wings again. So I got a little black on there. Alright, so while all this is drying, I'm going to show you how to do your bow. You should have a little piece of string and maybe a big one for the hanger on the back. If it's just one piece, then just cut I don't know, maybe half a foot off and lay it flat. So up and down like that. And then we're going to layer your bow on in the order that you want to see it. So the ones that went on the outside are going to be the black and white ones. If you want this little fancy edge here on the ribbon, what you do is hold it towards you and fold it in towards you, and then take your scissors. Fabric scissors work good on the ribbon. I don't know if you're technically supposed to use those on it or not. And then you just cut inward. So the ends of your scissors should be pointing to the right. And you're going to do that on both ends. And then you get this little cute little edge here. So I've already done that on these ribbons, and these are actually ones that I used for a watermelon. But I'm going to put the side I want to see face down in an X, like this. So my twine is right down the center of the ribbon, and I have an X with my black ribbon. Now the next one that I'm going to want to see is the polka dots. So whatever order you want to see it in, that's how you're layering this. And I'm not going to put them directly over top of it, but I'm going to do another X with just kind of the opposite direction here. So they don't completely cover it, they're just offset a little bit. And then I'm going to take the burlap and kind of do the same thing. So you should be able to see all of your ribbon. Then you're going to take it and hold it down, and you can just tie it like this. Pull it kind of tight and flip it over, and you can arrange it however you want. So you can kind of slide your ribbons, move them back and forth, so however you want it to look. And then once you get it the way you want it, just pull it tight and tie it again. So do a double knot, just like that. And then you can cut your extra string piece off. So when you're done, you can just glue this on here. Alright, so we have a couple little details to do. If you're going to do the little dots around the edge of the beehive, I would use the same small brush with a little round brush, or if you have paint pens, those usually work pretty good too. I don't know what to do with my round brush. So I just dip it in there, and then you could do your little dots all the way around, just like that. Now the smaller your dots are, the longer this is going to take you. So I wouldn't do them too small. You just want to make sure you have room for your words, and you want to make sure that they overlap both the yellow and the black. And you want them to touch. So you're basically just drawing circles all the way around. And this is definitely optional. I just like to do it on anything that has a straight line because it kind of helps hide those flaws, but I also think it's just really cute. So it does take a little bit of time. If you have a paint marker, those go a lot faster. Since my paint's a little wet, they don't work good on wet paint, so if you're gonna use a paint marker, make sure it's completely dry. Left hand's getting me in trouble again. They don't have to be perfect. They're not gonna be. You just want them all about the same size at least. Alright, I think the only thing I have left paint-wise are the swirls in the beehive, or in the bee wings. Let's see if I can use this brush. So you can use a brush or you can use a paint pen. I'll show you. Go ahead, I'll use a paint pen if I have one here. Let's see. This one's from Walmart. I'm just gonna take it, I'm gonna start here up at the crease. This one might be too big for my little bees. Yep, it is. Okay, so that didn't work because this paint pen has way too big of a tip on it. It's not the one I usually use. This is a Sharpie one. I think, of course, my bees are smaller than yours because my hive is smaller. I think I'm just gonna take a brush. Okay, so don't do that. I'm just gonna take a tiny brush and do it. I'm just gonna start here. That's better. Okay, we need to put on the your little sign, be kind, and I don't have, let me see, let me find some tape here. I don't have the little be kind sign, but I just want to show you how to use this stencil. So what you're going to do is 3 layers. You're going to take your back piece, and yours should be white, but it still has a white paper back on the end. See how there's 3 layers here? This is trash, okay? The white is your letters and the top is tape. So you're gonna peel back that white paper and make sure your letters stick to the tape. So as you peel back your white paper that's garbage, make sure all of your vinyl letters are sticking to your white transfer tape. Once you pull that off, then you'll just have the tape with the letters stuck to it. You'll put the sticky side down in the center of the beehive, center it in there where you want it, and then once you get it where you want it, you'll push it down really good and then peel that tape back off. Now you do not want to do that until your paint is completely dry, okay, because it will peel your paint up if it is not dry enough. So I'd give it some time before you do that. Alright, all you have to do now is take your bees. I use craft glue E6000. This one's, the lid's glued shut. Let's see if I can get... Well, all of them are glued shut. We used them at a class the other day. Maybe I can get, here we go, got one off. So a little of this goes a long way. You don't want to use a whole lot. I usually lay my pieces where I want them before I start to glue. Get all this dried glue off of it so it'll come out. Alright, just when you put the glue on, try to keep it in the center of the bee. And sometimes I even take a palette knife and spread it like peanut butter, because any of the thick globs, once you push down, it's going to ooze out the sides and you will not be able to get it off and make it look right. So just put a little bit in the center, spread it out, and then lay it down wherever you want it. I'm not going to glue these on, but you're going to take your ribbon after you cut these extra pieces off, and you can glue that down too. You can use hot glue if you want. If you're going to spray it with some kind of outdoor polyurethane, outdoor acrylic sealer, do that obviously before you put your bow on and glue your pieces down. So we use this on our outdoor pieces, the ones that are going to be exposed to weather. You can find it, I think, at Walmart. I might have ordered that, but I think I have it at Walmart. And if you used a paint pen, be really careful about spraying it, because it will cause the paint dots to smear. So just hold it kind of far away and do a light coat, and then you can go back and do another coat later. Then you can glue everything on, get your bow on it, and you're good to go. So I think I'm done. I think I might be forgetting something, but I guess I'm not. Anyways, thank you all for ordering kits and painting with me, and I hope y'all have a great day. Thanks.